I've been thinking about growth, and I'm not too sure what it means to grow, but I do know that I read a quote not so long ago that really summarized growth in the most beautiful way for me. And this quote says that growth is a dance, not a light switch. Growth is a dance, not a light switch. Firstly, I think that perfectly explains how complex and beautiful growth is. Any dance has its own steps, movement, room for improvisation, and I think that's what makes growth so beautiful. Growth is not a switch you turn on and off. It's not like happening and not happening. It is a movement. It's part of life. It's growth involves death. That's why it's so beautiful that all of these different parts of growth, celebration, joy, the need to sometimes step back and let someone else take the lead, and then you go back and you take the lead. It's this gentle yet emotional yet very specific, intentional practice. And that's why I think the word dance describes it so well, because a dance encapsulates all of those concepts. And so I think that growth is a dance, not a light switch. Greetings, hey guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, greetings, hi. If not, thank you guys so much for being back. As you know, today's discussion is all about growth, and not only just growing or how to grow, but rather explaining the dance of growth, the journey of growth, and how I found it has happened for me. And I hope this video is helpful for you, and I hope it helps you still be gentle on yourself when you feel like you've stepped back in your growth. If you remember that growth is a dance, then it can change your perspective on how you view where you are. I think about this first step in the dance as a step of comfort. We are often very comfortable in our current situations, as in to say we are familiar with them. It doesn't mean we're happy with them. We are in patterns that are familiar to us, whether or not they are negative. So the first step is recognizing that comfort you are in. It's your habits, it's your patterns, it's things you can see repeating in your life, and you're starting to recognize them and where they sit in your body and how they make you feel. And you might be recognizing that there are things that you're pushing away to the back of your mind, and they're not necessarily urgent, but they are sort of sucking the life out of you because you're not addressing them. I call those little whispers. You know how the universe whispers to us? And it's those things that are telling you that A, you're getting too comfortable, but B, that there are things that you need to bring forth to the surface so that you can step up to that next level of yourself. And by next level, I mean expansion. I don't mean growth in the terms that we would describe it as, financial or skin goals or body goals. I just mean like self-expansion, the expanding of who you are as a person. And so this first step requires a lot of self-awareness, and self-awareness shows you where you've been comfortable even though you shouldn't be. I know this might be a bit of a controversial-ish opinion, but it's just that there also comes a time in your own journey when you are, and I speak not for everyone, I find that when I was super depressed and super anxious and really struggling with my mental health, there was a certain familiarity in staying in bed all day, in not doing the things I needed to do. And so it's so scary to change that sometimes you continue to do the things that you're not supposed to do. How do I put this? It's very scary to change these habits that we're comfortable in because we don't know what's waiting for us on the other side. This first phase in the dance is actually about you realizing that you don't know as much as you thought you knew, and that even though you have certain habits and patterns that you are familiar with and comfortable with, they are no longer doing anything beneficial for you or the people you love. And therefore, the next phase of the dance is to stand up for yourself. I think that in this phase of the dance, it's about finding your footing. You realize how little you know. You step onto this dance floor bravely, foolishly, with all sorts of expectations about how it's going to go. When you choose to stand up for yourself, it's quite a brave and transformative feeling. It's that decision you make that no one makes for you. For example, I mean, it's a lame example, but when I first started going on my health and weight loss journey, I woke up one day and I was just so tired of feeling a certain way, and I decided. There wasn't any I was brooding about it for a long time, and I just woke up one day and I was like, I'm so tired of myself. So I have to take action, and I think that's the moment of standing up for yourself in this dance. You're going to find your footing. You're going into the unknown. You're saying, I don't know how this dance goes, but I am willing to learn. And you start to see changes in yourself. It's very exciting starting something new initially, even if you're floundering a little bit. It's just that initial change where you start seeing yourself lose a little bit of weight, for example, or becoming fitter, healthier, stronger, feeling a bit more energetic. It's this recognizing that you've done the right thing, even if other people are not yet seeing your results. It's very liberating. So that third step or third part of the dance is those changes that you start to see. As you dance, you start to realize that, okay, I'm really out of my element. This is when things start to get a little harder, but because you've made this decision, you are willing to push through and embrace the challenges, embrace the fact that, okay, you know even less than you thought you knew. And this is what I call embracing our vulnerabilities or our weaknesses. It's like, whoa, I thought it was gonna go a certain way. I thought I knew something about this, but I'm still here. I'm wearing my heart on my sleeve, that is to say. And I think this is where, after this step, this is where things start to go downhill, and it feels like the healing or the changing or the growth isn't happening, and you start to retract back. You embrace your vulnerabilities. You're in an unknown arena. You are willing to go beyond what you've ever gone before, but you're just not sure how it works. And this is where we often stop. We often stop in this part where we're super vulnerable, learning a lot slower than we anticipated we would learn. And we're like, okay, maybe I should stop. Maybe it's not working. This is where we tend to revert back to our old patterns and habits. It's realizing that we're in an arena we've never, ever been before, and that we're bait in, essentially. We are the fish to be caught. You are vulnerable. You're open. You are moving with naked. You're basically naked in front of, I don't even know what, the universe. And that is something so important to recognize. When you realize you are naked and afraid and that you can actually step through it, it's really hard. I think this is one of the hardest phases. It's pushing through the vulnerable part and embracing discomfort. The next step is embracing discomfort. It's realizing that everything is new, and that in order to level up, you're doing things you've never done before. And if you're doing things you've never done before, they will be uncomfortable, whether or not you like it, whether or not you feel like it should be that way. That's a fact. And so you embrace the discomfort. You sit with it. With the discomfort, you sit with it. It's that feeling the first time you ever set a boundary with someone, where your voice shakes and you sound mostly unsure, and you've never done this before, and you think the person is just really upset at you, and you make up this whole story about it. You sit with that discomfort. You don't retract, and it's extremely difficult. It's not an easy task at all. But like we said, growth is a dance, and we are willing to move. Sitting in discomfort of your journey, in the discomfort of growing, takes a lot of practice, I feel, because it's about recognizing that you are in fact uncomfortable, and that you do in fact want to run away and never do this again. However, in fact, it is beneficial because you can feel yourself becoming new again. It's an interesting place to be because it requires, I think, the most intentionality. It's about being like, wow, I'm uncomfortable right now in this moment, let me sit with it kind of feeling. I think after some practice, we let go of expectations, and that's the next part of this dance. It's letting go of what you thought it would look like, the feeling that you have to get all the steps right in this dance, or that you can't improvise and do things how you want to. It's letting go of what you thought it would be and embracing what is, whether it's messy, chaotic, easy, hard, all of those things in an hour. It's about saying, okay, I expected it to look a certain way. It doesn't look this way, and yet it is so beautiful, and I know it is. My inner knowing tells me this is the right thing. Therefore, I can surrender. Surrendering is not just a feeling, it's a practice. It's active, it's intentional. Most things are, and we often forget. And so the next step into this dance is where one should and one does let go of any expectations regarding the end result, the journey of itself, and how you should feel. There's none of that anymore. You just... And speaking of deep breaths, the next step, I think, is acceptance. The journey of growth after all of that discomfort and letting go of expectations, you get to a place of acceptance. It's really an allowing of the universe or God or whoever it's allowing of them to have their hand in your life, to recognize that there are sources more powerful than us that are active every day. Sorry if you don't like that, but it's just the truth. That it's okay to lean on those sources for help and to be okay with how life moves, because we've been sold such a linear lie about how life is. It's not like this. Life is chaotic, it's messy, and by chaos, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean it's unpredictable and never easy, maybe not always fair, but maybe always right. And there are some things we'll just never have answers for, and that's acceptance. I get that. There are some things in life we will just never, ever have answers for, and we totally need to be okay with that, because that's just how it is. Then, I think the final part of this dance, before moving into the next dance, because we are always growing, is trusting your intuition. Because this dance is all about letting go of what you knew and what the world has told us and what we think are facts and what we think is real and not real, because nothing is binary. There's nothing black and white in this world. You start to trust the part of you, the inner knowing, the intuition, the part of you that leads you in the right direction, even though sometimes you don't always have the right facts, you don't always know the how. It's just that part of you that says, I know that you should go this way, go that way. Let's go. We'll figure it out later. I think that's when you level up. And this I call self-expansion, which is another word for growth for me. It's the expanding. And that's the journey, babes. So please like and subscribe. It helps the YouTubes to know if you're vibing or not. So please do that. And comment your 3 favorite emojis. Something purple would be nice, but not a purple heart, because we did purple heart business like a month ago. I think a sparkle of sorts. I'm there by the sparkles, guys. A sparkle of sorts and something purple, if possible. Or an animal. Speaking of animals, my dogs are alerting me to some activity on the outside. So I'll see you later, alligators. Bye.